Yeah, Andy gave me the stuff for the hockey. We bid on that.
Good. That's exciting too.
That was fun.
Yeah, ever since then they've just been on a roll.
Welcome to an extra special meeting of the Las Vegas Rotary Club. Our club continues to make a difference by teaching youth to succeed through literacy, education, and life skills development. My name is Michael Gordon, and I'm proud to serve as the 95th president of the greatest Rotary Club in the world. To open our meeting, I would like to call to the front past President Sharon McNair for our invocation.
Thank you, President Michael. Yeah. Okay. I tested it to see if I could see it, and I can. Let us pray. God of the universe, since we are not conscious enough to fathom your ebb and flow, help us then to bring our best efforts to what we can know, to love our friends and family, to treat our employees and fellow workers fairly, to seek justice, to help those in need, to be the best that we can be, and to live by the four-way test. Of all the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Amen.
Thank you. And our song leader today is Marie Walsh. I don't think she's ever done this song. I think this is our first time for Marie. No pressure, Marie.
Since we all would like God to bless our country, I would like to sing God Bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. As a testament to the caliber of speakers we get in our club, I think it's great that you all are here early. And Sheriff Lombardo, you should know that everybody showed up early just to hear you speak. And thank you for keeping your commitment. Thanks for keeping your commitment to speak to our club despite your busy schedule. So to introduce our sheriff, I'm going to call to the front Bill Stieren for a formal introduction.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and friends. How do you do? If you're like me, and I'm sure most of you are, sometime in our past life we played some organized ball, maybe in a class play, an orchestra, a choir, and each time there was someone that laid out the plan. You practice, you get on the field, and you're supposed to do it. And when that day came that no one here ever wanted to see, and the call went out, our first responders reacted with skill, training, discipline, and courage. Our speaker today was very instrumental in that training, and when the call came out, he was also on the front line. Please welcome our speaker, Sheriff Joe Lombardo.
Sorry about that, Bill. I had food in my mouth there. Well, good afternoon. Man, that was terrible. All right, let me try it one more time. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. There you go. So, thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to address the crowd and the Rotary. And when I was coming in, the thing I love about talking to the Rotaries is when you come in, you get regaled with people saying thank you for coming and also want to shake your hand and say hi, and they're very accommodating, and hospitality is stupendous, and I appreciate that. So I wasn't really given an agenda, but traditionally what I like to do is provide you a little history of your police department, because a lot of times we have individuals from the last time I was here talking that are new to town. They don't understand why the sheriff is standing up here and not the police chief. And then I'll talk about crime, what's going on in our valley, give you a little update what's going on with the police department and where we're going in the future. Does that sound good? All right, awesome. So for those of you, how many people are new from the last time I spoke? Everybody? Not everybody. All right, well, there's a couple. So for those of you that heard me last time, bear with me. I like to give a little bit of history of the police department. So traditionally, no matter where you're from, traditionally the city, the incorporated city, has a police chief. And then when you move out into the unincorporated county or the incorporated county, you have a sheriff. And the sheriff predominantly is in charge of the jail out in the county. But here, the powers to be, the governing fathers or the government officials that were in place at the time in 1973, they said, we have a redundancy of services. Let's merge the police department, and the sheriff will be the head of it as an elected official. So that's why you have that uniqueness here, and that's why you don't hear about a police chief in Las Vegas, unless you're out in Henderson or North Las Vegas or Boulder City, in those areas. So me being the head or the 800-pound gorilla in law enforcement in the Las Vegas Valley, to include being in charge of the Clark County Detention Center. So that's how it happened. And so subsequently, I'm the 7th elected sheriff here in the Las Vegas Valley, the predecessor being Doug Gillespie prior to me. I'm in my 4th year as your sheriff, and I'll get this out of the way right now. I'm running again for another term. So, and so you don't have to say, what the hell is this guy doing running around taking pictures? Thank you, Caesar. Why is this guy running around taking pictures? Well, he's part of my campaign. That's why he's doing that. So let's get into it. What's going on with crime in the valley? What is your perception? Is it out of control? It's not? What is it? What do you guys think? You think it's increased? Nope, it's actually decreased. There you go. No, because a lot of people, it's a perception thing, and people quite often ask me, you know, it seems like it's chaos here. Every time I turn on the TV, they're talking about murders or crimes, and I said, well, because it's a little bit different because of the 24-hour news cycle. What you traditionally experienced in years past, prior to the internet and bloggers and the competition in the media, was you'd hear about stuff in a 24-hour cycle. Nowadays, you hear about it in a 10-minute cycle, or actually a 1-minute cycle. And so the perception is it's total chaos. But in actuality, crime is going down. It's going down compared to the year previous. But it still it's nowhere near the 1990 levels that we experienced in the past. Now, the numbers may seem like it is. Well, no, the number is a little bit higher than the 90s. Well, yeah, but the population was half as much in 1995 as it is currently. So you have to put it in per capita perspective. So, more importantly, modern day and current time, violent crime, we're down 1% compared to last year, which is very good. And you say, well, Sheriff, come on, 1%, that means nothing. Yeah, it means a lot because we were up 11% from the previous year. So for us to make that reduction is a huge number. So we're going in the right direction. Property crime is down around 3.5%. So if you look in totality of the data set, there's a lot more property crimes than there are violent crimes. The total picture is we're down right around 2.2% in crime. So we're going in the right direction. Good? Good. So why are we going in the right direction? Why? Huh? Because I'm the sheriff, that's why. No, actually, obviously any successful organization has nothing, well, it has something to do with the people at the head of the organization, but more importantly, the people that support the organization. And we did some changes on how we fight crime internally on the police department. In years past, we became over-specialized. We had a silo type of investigative function on the police department. And what I mean by that, if you became a victim of a crime, in other words, you're walking down the street and somebody hits you about the head and robs you, we would have a patrol officer respond to that. They would take a report, and they would do a modicum of investigation associated with that, and then a report would be thrown in a basket, and in approximately 2 weeks, on the average, a detective would put eyes on that. Very poor system, correct? Okay. It was. It was a product of specializing on how we investigate crime instead of globalizing it. And so what it is, cops become over-specialized. A robbery detective only understood robberies. A narcotics detective only understood narcotics. And we didn't generalize it, and we became too specialized, and it actually hindered us in our policies and procedures. So, solvability. After a crime has occurred, the detective puts eyes on and they investigate it, and on TV, they solve 100%, right? In reality, what do you think we did? Huh? Somebody shout something out. If we did 50%, you would be the president, buddy. No, 80%, absolutely uncalled for. 3%. So let's just put it in context. 36,000 burglary calls a year. Solving 3% of those. If you were in your business, everybody in here is a diverse group here in the Rotary, if your business produced 3% product based on what your overhead was, you'd be bankrupt, correct? And it's no different than us. We got so specialized and so removed from what we did, so one of my goals was to decentralize the Detective Bureau and push them out into the area commands, make them more responsible. The victim's name became a name versus a number. And right now we're up to 28%. So we're going in the right direction. So that has a direct effect on those crime numbers. Because if you look at the rest of the United States, right now, it's going to be right around an increase of 7% of violent crime across the United States. So your jurisdiction had a decrease of 1%. So that's good. We're going in the right direction. We're doing the right things on how we look at it. The other result of that, and the reason why, is it not just because, remember what I said, well, that's after the fact. That's post-crime. What are you doing to prevent it, Sheriff? And my idea on that is cops make a difference. You gave me the ability to hire more police officers here recently. We went 6 years without hiring a police officer. The national average for officers per 1,000 permanent residents is 2.2. Your jurisdiction had 1.6, not including the 42 million visitors, who are responsible for about 8% of my total crime. So we were not being proactive, we were being reactive in what we did as a police agency. Passage of the sales tax enabled me to hire police officers. So we put our first new police officers on the street from the last 6 years last year. So right now, I have moved that ratio up to 1.9 per 1,000, and the proverbial goal is 2.0 per 1,000, and we'll be there in April. And so that's good. So we're hiring. The economy's looking better, and we're making progress on how we're dealing with crime. So just a survey of the group. Does crime go up or down in a bad economy? Who said down? It's down. Traditionally, crime goes down in a bad economy because people have less stuff to steal. They pay more attention to what's going on with what they do have. They tend to huddle. They move back home. And then they're just more savvy in a down economy. In an up economy, people have disposable income, and it's a ripe environment for crooks. So, Sheriff, wait a minute. You said crime's going down, but the economy's getting better, so it should be going up. No, it's a product of hiring more police officers, the ability to pay better attention. And that's why we are meeting success. I also mentioned I am in charge of the jail. How much does it cost me to house a human being on a daily basis? $135 a day. So do the math, times 365, it's cheaper to send your kid to Harvard. It's very expensive to house a human being. My average daily population at the Clark County Detention Center in the North Valley Complex is around 4,100 inmates. I hear the whistles out there. That sounds like a lot, right? In a community our size, it's deplorable. If you look at the western United States, the beds per 1,000 permanent resident is the worst in the United States. So that's what I'm dealing with moving forward, just so you have a context and you're educated on what the issues are. 72% of my average daily population is felons. That doesn't give me much room for quality of life issues. Individuals that are out begging on the corners, those things that really bug the hell out of you as a resident. So that's what we have to deal with, because we have to be able to give our officers tools to deal with those kind of things. Now what's going on? Is marijuana legal now? Yeah, I'm just joking. I know it is. Is it causing me any headaches? Not necessarily, okay? I like baiting you guys into these questions. We don't know yet. Granted, Denver or Colorado was our good beta experiment. Obviously, they legalized it years before we did. So we had a lot to draw from. What was perceived with legalizing marijuana, that the black market would go away. That's absolutely false. It actually has bolstered the black market because of the taxes associated with it. It's cheaper to buy it on the black market, just like any commerce, than it is to legally do it because of the taxes and the tariffs associated with the legal piece of it. So that panacea that people were using marijuana for to balance their budget didn't come true. Where they have noticed not an increase in violent crime associated with it, but they have noticed an increase in fatal accidents associated with it. They also have noticed an increase in juvenile admissions into the emergency medical environment because of the edibles. So those are the things that are on our radar that we're having to deal with moving forward associated with marijuana. So I always like to present this because we had our nicest or our easiest New Year's Eve celebration this year. And it wasn't because, my perception, it wasn't because of all the increase in federal resources that they brought to bear. I think it was a combination of a couple things. One is people were nervous. People were nervous about what happened on 1 October. So there was a calming effect associated with that, but also, and I think this is part of the theory, I won't say it, I'll say it in here, but I won't say it to the press, but I think that green cloud that I was walking through put a calming effect on everybody. So I like to segue on that. I was out there, and I think I got a contact high from just walking down the strip. So that's what's going on. So back to the jail issue, that's one of my big pushes into my next tenure moving forward, is to get an increase from the county commission and ability to house individuals that commit crimes at the appropriate level associated with our community. That's one of my big pushes moving forward. But we're going in the right direction associated with crime, and we're doing a lot of good things. Just for community awareness, we opened up Spring Valley Area Command about a year and a half ago. Is that about right, Nick? About a year and a half ago, and that's up at Sahara and Cimarron. So that enabled me, because of the hiring of police officers, to get more people out into the community and to deal with what we deal with as a police agency. But my goal in late 19 is we're going to have another substation opened up at Far Hills and Summerlin Parkway, or Far Hills and 215. And you're saying, Sheriff, why the hell do we need one up in Summerlin? Are you asking me that? Crime doesn't happen in Summerlin, right? Well, yeah, it does, but Howard Hughes is paying for it. That's why we're doing it. Because I can't own property per the NRS state law. It has to be provided by either private donation or government entity, particularly the city or the county. So they said, we'll pay for it if you put it here, and that's what we're going to do. So we'll just make adjustments. We just adjust how we operate in our areas of responsibility and push people down. It doesn't really matter what part of town it is. We make adjustments accordingly. And that's what's on the horizon associated with the police department. And then just last night, I had to provide a presentation to the North Las Vegas City Council on a range facility we're attempting to build up on their property for reality-based training. So it would be the low-frequency, high-risk events that police officers put themselves in on a daily basis to deal with the use of deadly force. So that's the vision for the police department and what direction we're going. Good information? Good. So what questions do you have of me? Happy to answer them. One at a time.
The microphone.
Okay, Sheriff Lombardo, is it politically correct to ask you how you're going to handle the latest Sessions attitude from Washington, D.C. regarding marijuana and the treatment of marijuana?
Everybody hear the question? He asked me what is our position, or what are we going to do as a police agency dealing with the Attorney General Sessions position statement on marijuana. It really doesn't affect me because he gave direction to the federal agencies that enforce those laws, particularly the DEA, to make the decision at the state level. The DEA here locally doesn't have the resources to do that enforcement. So it would be very, even though the law has been brought forward, they don't have the resources. A bigger issue for the DEA here locally is the opioids and how we deal with that, the methamphetamine and the cocaine. The traditional drugs that you're aware of, they have very limited resources. It's quite often we're not called upon Las Vegas Metro to deal with those issues associated with dispensaries and cultivation. So I don't have a position on that, sir, because it's not my bailiwick. It ends up just like immigration falls under the federal auspice. So.
Sheriff, after 1 October, we're all reminded of what you do, and thank you so much. You alluded to it during your talk about the homeless and beggars and people approaching you, and it is one of the things that you can't go to a parking lot of a fine dining restaurant or walk somewhere without being approached by somebody or see them on the street. Mayor Giuliano somehow managed to reverse that in New York. I don't know if there's something to be learned from them to make that happen, but it really is just a poor impression for visitors and for people living here when you have that kind of overwhelming kind of attacks by people asking for money or frightening you when you're trying to walk into a restaurant.
You are correct in your assessment, and they did a yeoman's job in New York, especially Times Square, in dealing with that issue. But what's the answer to the issue? First and foremost, homelessness isn't a crime. Second of all, a police officer has to have a tool in order to deal with it. And what did I say earlier? I have space issues at the jail, and that's the tool. We don't have the ability to address those type of quality of life issues because 72% at any point in time are felons. Being homeless or quality of life or public disturbance or scenic blight, those kind of quality of life crimes are limiting in my ability to incarcerate individuals. Citations do not work with the homeless because we don't have a location to locate them when it goes to warrant. So That's the issue we're dealing with as far as resources. Now, you said Mayor Giuliani and Commissioner Bratton, who was the police commissioner at that point, how did they deal with it? They didn't have space issues in the jail. And that's what we're dealing with. And that's why it's a multi-pronged approach for me to deal with the county commission in increasing that issue.
Sheriff, what's your policy or your thoughts on stop and frisk?
Stop and frisk, we don't have a policy on that. We just abide. I mean, the key to the stop and frisk issue is there was one word left out of that, investigate. When you quite often hear the stop and frisk rhetoric, they leave out the investigative part. So it was stop, investigate, and frisk in that issue, and that's been left out of the rhetoric. It was determined to be unconstitutional, I believe, by the Supreme Court. I think it was a state Supreme Court or a U.S. Supreme Court? I believe it was state in New York. It's a tool. It's an issue. You have the ability within the constraints of the Constitution to be successful. If it just doesn't look right, that's been constitutionally upheld as the ability for a police officer to, because of their institutional knowledge and their personal knowledge, to conduct a stop. Frisk is for officer safety more often than not. They did it as a proactive tool to violate the Fourth Amendment. So as long as you work within the constraints of the Constitution, you can be successful. I think what had happened with that, the original design of that, was strictly within the confines, and they went beyond and above the Constitution in order to be successful. But that now, when they pulled back the reins on the police departments that were involved in that, they haven't seen any increase in crime associated with those changes. So,
Sheriff, it seems like we have a litmus test now ever since the Raiders came and everything that happened at the legislature.
The Raiders are here?
Yeah. Just to
They're
let
not
you
here
know.
yet, are they?
But not, you read, in the news or you read in the paper, well, if we can do the Raiders, then we ought to be able to do X. And that's sort of an unfair comparison. However, they do have a point. So if you are capacity constrained from a jail point of view, and obviously you're very capacity constrained from a police officer point of view, I know your goal is 2, but what's the national average? Isn't it more like 3.5 or 4?
2-2.
2-2, okay. But what I'm saying is, why can't we do it, though?
Hold on, finish. I'm going to go back to what he said. Mayor Giuliani and what happened in New York, and it's going to segue into your question. Remember what I said my officer per 1,000 is, right? What do you think it is in New York? 5.5. Talking about resources and tools, correct? So that segues into you.
So my question is, if we can do all that, if we can do a $150 million deal for a minor league baseball team, why can't we get a bigger jail? I mean, that's what's at stake, because if we become Detroit, guess what? The tourists aren't going to come here anymore. So I know this is a rhetorical question, but the question is, if we need more jail space, we need more law enforcement, we need more tools, maybe we need something from the legislature from a state point of view. I'm not counting on any state money in any regard whatsoever, but we've always been able to do it ourselves. So the question is, why don't we just do it?
Good question. That's why you all have county commissioners that you can call and say, hey, this is the issue. So just to give you a clarification on how I'm funded, right around 60% of my total budget, I have a $1 billion budget in totality. Around 60% of that is funded by both the city and the county contributions. 34% is done by self-generated funds through property tax and sales tax, and then self-generating revenue. So the powers to be, the city and the county, have to make that decision based on our funding formula. But in particular to a felony facility outside of a misdemeanor facility, which the county is solely responsible for, they have to enable me to do that. So how do you pay for it? Through enterprise funds through the county? Do they do adjustments internally and make it more towards public safety, or do you levy a tax? There's only 2 options there. And a tax is not palatable to most of the population, so you have to make the priorities more important in the county fund through the enterprise funds in order to fund that. I agree with you 100%, sir. But they're elected officials just like me, and it requires the people to complain to them about it. Look how many years and iterations of the more cop sales tax we had to go through in order to hire a very small modicum of police officers. We went through 6 separate votes on that before we actually got it passed. So it's important for your voice, which is a lot louder than mine, in this discussion.
Yeah, Sheriff. One question, well, two. Number one.
Hey, he said one.
I understand that there's an empty jail in Jean, right? Jean. Is anybody using that? And number two, my comment is, because this is what the military has to go through, why don't we put a great big huge pin up on the mountain where it's electrical walls, and then put pup tents in there. The prisoners can live in pup tents and give them a nice, clean toilet and shower.
Man, that's a loaded question. Your first question, yes, there is a prison up in Jean. It's 20% occupied. We have some state prisoners up there. The other 80% is closed down because it's a state-funded facility. It's not a county-funded facility, and they have to staff it at the state level. So that they don't have the funding to occupy it 100%. That's why it's due. They do everything adjusted on the prison system. So just to give you a matter of clarification, what I'm talking about, the Clark County Detention Center will house you indefinitely until you are adjudicated in court. I can only house you after adjudication in court for up to a year. If it's more than a year sentence, you have to go to the state prison system. That's how the incarceration system works. And I say indefinitely pre-adjudication. I have over 300 individuals in my jail right now that are in jail for murder. Okay, 34 of those have been in jail waiting trial for over 5 years. So there's a lot of different spokes in the system, the criminal justice system. They all have to be functioning at the same level for it to work. And so there's a lot of inherent problems associated with that as we deal with it. So the second question, why don't we put up a compound or a campsite and put them in pup tents? There's this organization in the federal government called the Department of Justice. That's why. They regulate how you can house people and the conditions that you can house them in. So the proverbial Joe Arpaio Phoenix model of a tent is a fake news. Okay? Yes, he had a tent city. It was attached to the existing brick and mortar jail. And you had to volunteer to go out there. He wasn't sentencing people to Tent City. You volunteered, and if you did go out there, you got a reduction in your sentence. So you have to educate yourself on all the nuances to understand that it's not as simple as it seems at face value. So thank you very much.
Thank you for coming to speak to us today, Sheriff. I know you have another appointment, and you're standing between these people and their lunch, so we want to get that going too. So we want to thank you by presenting you with our Share What You Can award, where we will give a. Oh yes. See, we're out of practice, so we'll give a warm meal to a homeless vet in your name. Thank you again for coming to speak to us. And
And so, and here's the embarrassing part, sherifflombardo.com. I'm running again.
thank you. We are going to move straight into introductions, and then we're going to take a break for the food to be served. So the food can come out, but we'll move into introductions. So starting back where we were, Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Sergeant at Arms, if we could move to the introduction of international visiting Rotarians. Bob, do we have? No internet? Any visiting Rotarians? Visiting Rotarians over there?
What do I say? Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Caitlin Shea. I am from the Las Vegas West Rotary, and I'm also here on behalf of Junior Achievement of Southern Nevada to thank you for your investment for helping children learn about financial literacy. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And then up front here.
Good afternoon. I'm Donna Friswell. I'm from the Newark, Delaware Morning Rotary Club. We were chartered in February of 1999, and I have 18 years of perfect attendance, and I don't intend to mess it up. Hence, I'm here today.
Good job.
And Mr. President, I have a banner.
We have a banner right there, and pause and smile for the photo. Thank you. Thank you for visiting.
Thank you.
Any other visiting Rotarians? Seeing none, then moving on to guests of Rotarians.
I have with me today my girlfriend, Jennifer Cook. You stand up. Say hello to everybody. Thank you. Get a picture, Jen. That's it.
Jennifer was boogieing at our Christmas party, weren't you? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm here with my wife, Harriet, and we get a 10% discount on her meal because she helps set up.
Nice. Over here.
President Michael and fellow Rotarians, it's my pleasure to have with me three guests today. First is Tom Davis from my office, one of my partners, a fantastic attorney. We also have Jessica Black and Zachary Walters from the Foundation for an Independent Tomorrow, who we have multiple board members in this club on that board, and we'll be happy to talk with them in just a little bit.
My guest is my dear lady friend, Diane Clary.
I'm in back there.
My guest today is Gary Birkon. He is a retired police captain from Rochester, New York.
Nice. And then my guest there's more guests? Lucy, you have a guest?
Hello, my guest name is Michelle, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, it's pressure. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for letting me spend my afternoon with you. I work for Post-Launch. It's a marketing company, so we take everything that's scary and intimidating and creative about the internet and help get users to your site.
Thank you. Any more guests? Oh.
And I am a guest of a guest of a guest.
Sure, welcome. My guest at the head table is Richard Yost, who's been practicing law for over 40 years, splitting his billable hours between representing clients in tax-exempt financing transactions and serving as general counsel to the Nevada Institute for Autonomous Systems, the drone people. Previously, he helped form and then served for 10 years as a director of the Nevada Insurance Company that reversed the medical malpractice crisis that hit Nevada in 2001. Lately, he's been a part-time instructor at the Boyd School of Law, teaching privacy law and how it interacts with technology. Hello, Alexa. He's on the board for the Foundation for an Independent Tomorrow, and he enjoys spending his limited free time with his children and grandchildren. And today, we're going to have double portions because the sheriff and his guests left. So Richard and myself are going to have double of everything. So please help me join me in welcoming all our visiting Rotarians and guests. We have a very busy agenda, and thank you all again for showing up early for our speaker. The speaker let us know that he had this commitment, but he did not want to break his commitment to us, and we said, great, we will accommodate you. So thank you all for showing up early. Doug, if you could take the microphone to Janet Linder for an update on one of our members.
I don't know how many of you all know, but Ted McAdam has been very ill. Actually, before Christmas, his appendage ruptured. He was actually at the Rotary meeting, and Diana is trying to get his wife is trying to get a hold of him because the doctor had read his scan, and his phone was off, and the doctor said, "Get him to the hospital now." Anyway, long story short, they did the surgery, a lot of infection. Got to come home for Christmas. After Christmas, he got more infection. Ted is still in the hospital. He's had another surgery, and he's got drains in him. But the good news is, we almost lost him twice. The good news is, yesterday he ate for the first time big people food, and he was able to function like a regular person, and hopefully he's going to be able to come home in a week or so. I mean, I don't know. The jury's still out on that. But please keep him in your prayers. Mountain View. Now, let me say all this about that. Please don't zoom over to Mountain View. I think it's important that he's so weak and has been through so much. Please don't go visit him. Send him a card. I think that's the nicest thing you can do for him. It takes energy to have a conversation, so just motherly advice.
No, the food, the dinner?
Oh, yeah, okay. We had talked about actually having a food dinner, all of us take turns. Actually, Stephen and I are taking food over on Sunday. Diana has requested no food at this point because she doesn't know what their schedule is, so it's kind of hard to deliver the food and you know, if her not being home, she's at the hospital a lot. So thank you for your thoughts, and that's the scoop.
Thank you. And then if you could take the microphone to Glenn Meyer, who's also going to give us an update on one of our family of Rotary.
Excuse me. Many of you people know that Deb Grant and her husband Bill have been going through some pretty significant challenges recently. Deb hasn't been able to be here very much. She did want to update the club, and so she put together a letter that she asked to have read. I'll tell you just a heads up, it's a pretty raw letter, but Deb's in a pretty raw place right now, so this is the message from her. Dear fellow Rotarians, in talking with Janice and Sean recently, they believe that most of you are not up to date on Bill's condition. Bill's diagnosis is stage 4 metastatic urothelial cancer. It is technically cancer of the urinary tract and has already impacted the left kidney, bladder, and prostate. He currently has 8 tumors, 1 in each lung, 5 lymph nodes, and 1 in the liver. The tumors in the lymph nodes are stable, but the others are all growing. We had a meeting with our oncologist yesterday, and the news was grim. As some of you know, we've been dealing with this for 5.5 years with a brief 18 months of supposedly being cancer-free, though I'm not so sure about that. Since the fall of 2016, he has been 2 failed clinical trials. He got pretty sick in December, and we believed at that time that it was a side effect of the second trial drug. Since Christmas, he has been confined to the couch most of the day. He is extremely weak, very tired, lethargic, and has lost about 40 pounds. Eating had been a challenge, but seems to be improving somewhat. Yesterday, the oncologist told us that these symptoms are all now from the cancer itself and not the drug. They are putting him on another immunotherapy drug, but the goal for that is to give him a little more time, not curative. The doctor told us yesterday that a cure is not possible anymore. He would not commit to a period of time that Bill has left, but basically said it would depend on the drug. Needless to say, we are devastated. Bill is not working anymore, and I am trying to reorganize the business without him. It has been difficult for me to take care of Bill, tend to my clients, manage the business, and take care of 4 cats. So Rotary had to take a back seat. I miss you all so much, and I'm hoping to get here in the next couple of weeks, but life these days is on an hour-by-hour basis. Phone calls, emails, texts, and visits are all very much appreciated. At this time, we need to be with our friends. I miss being here, and I will get back on track. I just don't know when. Bill and I love you guys. From Deb Granda.
Thank you for that update. And then the final one is past President Karen Wisenand's husband, Tom, is undergoing open heart surgery today. So, yes, the family of Rotary, please keep that strong and reach out through phone calls, texts, and email to all of our people because we truly care about them. Doug, if you could take the microphone to 25 Club President Kirk Holmes for feedback on our party on Tuesday night.
We had a party and you all missed it. Well, some of you did. I want to thank Ed. I saw Ed. Ed, you're awesome, by the way. Ed donated and Larry's donated some wonderful appetizers for the night. There's some pictures in the wheel. We had a good time, and if you missed out, well, guess what? There'll be more social activities coming in February.
I think it was interesting that the past presidents were the first ones to show up for the free food. So before the 25 Club was there, so something to take into account. Next up, if you could take it to Marie Walsh. Marie, where are you? For Breakfast with Books.
Thank you, Michael. We had Breakfast with Books on Tuesday. The numbers aren't too good this month, but I have good news for you after I give you the numbers. The adults were 73, children 139, for a total of 212. That was kind of slight for us, but there were 54 children in attendance that made out their reading log that in a month they read 10 books each. So they had read 540 books. So I thought that was magnificent. And according to Spread the Word, we were the only school that made that. So I'm very proud of that. Thank you.
Congratulations. PEE Jackie Thorneal, President-elect. She's going to tell us about our Paul Harris points match.
I just want to remind everyone that we are going to be doing a points match. The club will match at 50% as a reminder. So if you would like to get your first Paul Harris or move to the next level, let me know because I do have the total. So just let me know I do have the report with me. And remember that we will be doing the presentations at our 95th anniversary dinner in April.
And then Foundation President Larry Rouse is going to announce our new foundation trustee.
Thank you. The Las Vegas Rotary Foundation had an unexpected vacancy on the Board of Trustees. Last week at a special session, we have recommended to the club that Dan Adamson be selected out of the many qualified people who applied. And wanted to remark, we had in the time I've been on the club, we had our first woman applicant, and we have another opening coming up in 3 months, and we'd like to encourage all the women in the club to consider applying for the foundation trusteeship.
So congratulate Dan. Dan, is Dan here
I think
today?
we have to do a motion. Yeah, Dan is not here. I think we have to do so I would move to appoint Dan Adamson as the...
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Congratulations, Dan Adamson. Then President-elect Jim Cole.
Yeah.
You want to do your...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There are all three there. Okay. Okay.
Okay, President Michael and the fellow Rotarians, we've got a great day here today. We've got 3 foundations that we are going to award checks to. The first is going to be to Junior Achievement, and this comes from the Las Vegas Rotary Foundation, and it is an award of $3,500.
Guys, thank you so much for this gift to us. This is helping us educate 4,500 8th through 12th graders on personal finance this spring, so January to March. So we're really excited, and we appreciate the continued support. Thank you.
Thank you. Our second award today is to an organization that I personally feel very strongly about. And probably none of you know this, but my father was in the military for a number of years. He was a Navy pilot, and he used to fly Subchaser, and he served in the Cuban Missile Crisis, where he managed to drop a depth charge on a whale, thinking it was a submarine. But nonetheless, a very strong supporter of the military, and so I'm very pleased to present to the USO and from Howard & Howard and the foundation a check for $5,000.
I'd like to thank, you all know who I am. I'd like to thank Howard & Howard that you've done a great job and you continue to do a great job year in and year out supporting the community. And I think you all know if you really want to support active duty military, there's only 3 ways to do it. Pay your taxes, or support the USO, right? So we appreciate your support. And just as a little tidbit, we served about 100,000 troops and families just here locally in Las Vegas last year. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And our final check today is a joint check from Howard & Howard attorneys and the Las Vegas Rotary Foundation. It is for the Foundation for an Independent Tomorrow, who I mentioned previously. They do wonderful things here in the community. Tom Davis is on the board still, is that correct? Not yet. Oh, he's working his way onto the board, but big supporter of the foundation, and so I'm very pleased to present to the Foundation for an Independent Tomorrow a check for $5,500.
Thank you very much. Again, I'm Zachary Walters. Thank you very much for having us here. The Foundation for Independent Tomorrow, I'll keep it short, FIT, is very thankful for this donation. I am a senior case manager there, so I'm on the ground working with all of our clients day in and day out. And we really do make a difference in people's lives. At our heart, we make sure that people have the training and also the knowledge to be a well-developed workforce, so that way they can go out there to any job and feel comfortable. That way employers also have competent employees. So thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jessica Black. I just wanted to second what Zachary said and to say thank you to all of the people who have supported FIT, and we really appreciate this donation, and on behalf of the FIT staff and board, we thank you.
Oh, okay. Jim, we're good with pictures? Okay. Thank you, guys. Next up, we have some exciting news, and I'm going to call Janet Linder to the front. And if Rosalie is here, I don't think Rosalie is here. So Janet is flying solo.
Well, today's an exciting day because we're inducting 2 new members, and I'd like for them to come up and present them with their certificates. I'd like for Adam Homey and Chris Way to join me up at the podium, and Michael. Yes, please. Well, I'd like for them to talk a little bit about who they are and what you do, and I just want you both to know how excited that we are to have you join our club. We're very proud of our Rotary Club. As you gathered, I'm sure, in the meetings, we're very active. We're the biggest in the Valley, and I think the most active in the Valley, in the world, right? Okay, excuse me. Okay, so Chris, we'll start with you. Welcome, and tell us a little bit about Chris.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you for the warm welcome. My name is Chris Way. I'm the Vice President General Manager of KTV Channel 13. I've said hello once or twice before, but see many familiar faces here. Community engagements in our DNA as broadcasters. There's many of the nonprofits here that we've been engaged with in the past that recognize today. So really, really excited to be part of this community of being a Rotarian, and really looking forward to developing some new friendships and relationships with folks in the room. So thank you.
Ready? Okay, my name is Adam Homey. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Moved here just over 4 years ago. Wasn't enough snow for me, so I had to come here instead. I heard about the Rotary over the past year or so because Captain Kirk and I we collaborated in a book called Journeys to Success, the Millennial Edition. He and I have become good friends, and I can tell you that every time I've met up with him, the first, second, third, 19th, and 23rd thing he's told me about is all the awesome charitable stuff that the Rotary does for the community. So I was inspired by that, and that's really something that I want to be involved in as I start to branch out more personally in the community, and I look forward to getting to know so many of you. Thank you.
Welcome. Happy to have you. Certificate. You can put that on your wall in your office or wherever.
Please join me in welcoming the world's two newest Rotarians. Thank you, guys. And then, as is custom in our meeting, the third week of every month, it's great Principal Katie Decker. It's time for an update. Are you coming to the front, Katie, or are you doing it from there?
All right, so great things are happening at our STEAM academies. I brought with me two of my art teachers. I have Kate Canepa. She is over at Howard Hollingsworth, and it's her second year teaching art there. And then I have Jocelyn Schroeder, is it your third year? Third year at Walter V. Long. And then I have Hannah McDonald, who is a first grade teacher and a brand new mommy over at Walter Bracken. So she gets a little break today. I had some awesome data that I just looked at. We track, I know I've told you before, we track AR points. Our kids, when they read a book, they take a quiz and they get a point for that book. So our data from last year, I was kind of excited because Walter Bracken had increased by 11,000 points over where they were the prior year. So they're up to 33,000 points already this school year. Just to give you perspective, each book for a first grader is worth a half a point. That's a lot of books. So then Walter Long also is at 33,000. They're up 8,000 more than they were the year before. But Hollingsworth is only in year 2 of our program. They increased over 21,000 points this year. They're up to 30,000 points, which means Long and Hollingsworth are finally getting up to the pace that Bracken STEAM Academy is at with the top reading scores in the state. So we know that they're going to do better. The more they read, the better they do. So we're really excited about that data. And then we've had some awesome donations lately at Hollingsworth that has helped transform the entire school. If you ever want to see an awesome school, come to any one of them, Bracken, Long, or Hollingsworth. They don't look like schools. They look like Disneyland. And it's engaging and fun and hands-on. We are getting ready to Bracken won National Title I Distinguished School. We're heading to Philadelphia in February. We're also heading down to BizTown. So we're very excited about that. All 3 schools, all 5th grade students will experience BizTown in Phoenix because we still don't have one here in Las Vegas. I don't know why. But we'll keep road tripping it down there. We get to sleep on the floor of the Children's Museum. I love sleeping on the floor. Please help us build one here. We really need it. So we've got those trips coming up. But again, I've been posting on Facebook some of the opportunities. We always need interviewers for the BizTown interviews. We always need people to come by, read to the kids. There's always an opportunity at any one of the schools. I'll take you any day, any time. I'll put you to work.
So before she leaves, why are you going to Philadelphia? You just kind of glanced over that.
Bracken, for the 2nd year in a row, is our National Title I Distinguished School for the state of Nevada, of which they choose 2. It's our I don't think anyone's ever got it twice.
Yeah.
I didn't think you could.
So for the first time ever, Bracken has won this award consecutively. So well done, Katie. Thank you for everything that you do in our community. Okay, so past President Jim Tucker is telling me there's a couple of squares left for the Super Bowl board, and he's leaving it up front. And if you have not yet had your dessert, you have about 3 minutes to have your dessert before we come back for more announcements. Enjoy your fellowship.
When I go to a restaurant and take clients for lunch, my little perk in life is getting iced tea to go. It's a small perk to go back to the office. Okay, so when the position for the Rotary Foundation retire, there needs to be a woman. I didn't get out that far.
Are you still hungry, by the way?
He doesn't apply for something I didn't get.
You want half of that or something? No? You
But
have to have a little sweet at the end of the day.
I know he made the
Only eat as much as you want.
I don't know any other
sweet in your mouth.
He asked me, he called me
Otherwise,
last
you go
week.
home with that
When
salmon
my board position is over. You're not wrong, actually. You shouldn't go home with that. You know, in July or whatever, when the position becomes available. And I'm like, absolutely. Well, no. I sent an email and said, knowing that I can't be on both boards, knowing that there's a position open for treasurer now, I am happy, and I talked to Michael about it, I'm happy to step off the board because I'm on 4 years. So I'm like, to be on the foundation. If not, I'd like to be considered for the open position in July. Right.
That sounds like what they're doing.
Yeah.
That sounds like what they're going to do.
Well, I would love to be on the
all the time.
Rotary Foundation.
And you can tell if they're military resume. There's like all this training that they've had that are not. How long have you been with Fit?
Yeah, I was curious to know how many people apply for the Rotary Foundation.
Just over a year and a half. They haven't been offered, I'm assuming.
I don't know how many people.
Does everyone work at the same same big office building? Yes. All of them are identical. I actually go out.
I can't believe I've been on the board 4 years. So when they had their past presidents meeting, they called me and said, we'd like to congratulate you for being, I don't know if you were there, if you're part of that? No. Right. Well, I didn't know, but I didn't know if future presidents go to, observe or whatever.
Where was your office? So far, I haven't been invited, but maybe other guys did, not me.
So they called me to say, congratulations for being on the board for 4 years because so many people lose interest and just stop going. And I go, oh, I didn't know that was an option.
Like double in size for a couple of years.
Oh my God. It is hard to get out of all that. The office is hard. How are you going to be out?
You guys own the building. Yeah. Paying rent.
I would.
That definitely allows us to there's a couple weeks ago. My goodness, we need it too.
I was asking the past president, I go, what president in the past? And I joined in Tom's year.
Do you have any space anymore?
And I said, what
I know when they
president?
doubled, you had a lot of extra
You
space.
had to
but
have
seems
like
you
someone
filled
fill in
most
all
of
the
it up.
time.
We have the entire
Yeah. I think I asked her. I said I was asking the past president is like what president in the past. Because I joined Axel's year, had to get these other because they couldn't make purchase. The most presidents that I
You got a
joined.
little room for growth before you have to get another
And I think you
add-on.
said CPA.
Pretty much.
Everybody's stuck.
Yeah, if we have to add on again.
Very rare for the ones that I.
There's no way. Yeah, we started
that was a third of the floor where he said. I said that was a third of the floor. Then we went to half a floor, then 3/4, and then we slowly go up. Now we got a whole floor, and we've probably got one extra office right now. So the question is, do we stop, or if we expand, we gotta get a part of another floor. Right. So the whole process over again up there. Exactly. Well, compared to the early days, it's like night and day in terms of how long have you been there now? My court schedule is going to be a day or two. She's my go-to email. Because Andy and Janet travel so much, it's tough to pin them down. Well, today is beautiful. It's this weekend that we're going to get a little nastiness. But hell, we've had a pretty good winter so far. Like the East Coast. Yeah, that finger of cold has gone all the way down to Florida. Yeah, usually there's a few weeks in the morning where you can get that cold, but not this year. I have these sweater vests I wear when it's cold to work. Right. Normally I got between like Thanksgiving and about now. I wear them pretty often. I think there's just been like 1 week that I wear.
Possibilities are all around us. Everywhere we look, we see opportunity. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our ideas with others, we know they'll see it too. And bring new perspectives. Lend unique skills. And take action in the communities all around the world that we call home. When people come together, that's when real change happens. Like transforming an old bus to feed hungry children, or providing life-saving equipment to those who need it most. From fighting disease to rebuilding schools, we turn what we see into what we've done. We are people of action. Get involved at Rotary.org.
Thank you all for being people of action. So, Doug, if you could take the microphone. Kirk, are you doing the... Okay. No worries, Doug. Kirk is just going to handle it here from the...
Yeah. So in our continuing education of the Rotary Club with respect to all the resources, cyber resources that are available, I just wanted to show you and take a few minutes to talk about Facebook. A lot of you know that this little black thing right here is actually streaming around the world and on Facebook what goes on every Thursday in our Rotary Club. So if you miss a meeting or can't make it, you can go to our Facebook page and actually watch what's going on and watch Michael ring the bell and all that jazz. So, but what's really kind of also really neat is that if you see a speaker just like the sheriff, and you want to share what he said with all of your friends online, you can really very simply hit share and share it with everyone. I mean, we're people of action like that video just described, so why don't all of us take a few minutes every Thursday and share with our friends online and share with the world the action that we do, the checks we cut, the service, the books we read, the things that we do to change our community, each and every single one of us, by just taking a couple of minutes every single Thursday and hitting share, like there's Kirk right there saying, let's do this. We have the ability to literally share what we do in our club with the world just by taking a few minutes, and I'll show you. Right here. That's me. Hi, this is live. Hello. And we can literally just hit that little share button right there and share what we do in our Rotary Club with everyone in the world, everyone on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, I encourage you every Thursday to share what we do with everyone. And there, and there's Kirk. Anyway, so you just literally hit that, share now. Now it's been shared. So, I mean, if everyone does that, we can share our message and what we do with the world.
Thank you, Kirk. Thank you for what you're doing. Now you need to talk about how do we edit that piece of you out, right? So.
Yeah, I just want to add, in case you're not aware, how to get to that Facebook page. I don't know if you want to say anything else, but if you go to the main club website that Kirk showed earlier, there's a little Facebook icon on there. You can click there; it'll take you to it. Also, we push an email out every month called the Fifth Wheel, and if you go to the bottom of the fifth wheel, all our social media stuff is there too. There's a little Facebook icon. You can click on that. Or you can just go to facebook.com, what is it, Las Vegas Rotary Club? Yeah, okay. So that's how you can get to the page.
Stop all the time.
Why does it start or stop all the time? Because you haven't paid for the high-speed internet connection.
Or actually does.
Yes. So if you're not on Facebook, whatever. You're still in the dark ages. If you're not on Facebook, but yes.
You don't need to be a member though to actually go to the page and look at it. Yeah, just if you want to share it or like it, you can go to the page. You can look at the archives and you can look at the live stream. You don't have to join Facebook in order to look at what's on the page.
Thank you. If you join Facebook, there goes 30 minutes every day, right, of productivity down the drain every day. So I want to move on to our next announcement. If you have not ordered your shirt or if you would like to order a shirt, today is the day. Bill Houghton is putting in the orders today. So if you can pick up one of these, it's only $25 for your Rotary shirt. You can pick the color and the size, short sleeve, long sleeve, whatever. Doug, if you could take the microphone to Tony. Kurt?
Just one quick thing. The long sleeve shirts are $29 each, while the short are $25. And
Thank
long
you.
sleeve isn't on the form. You have to handwrite it.
That's a good clarification. Long sleeve is $29. Short sleeve is $25. There's all kinds of colors here. So if you want that, today is the day. Next up, if you could take it to President-elect Jim Cole for our car show.
I'm busy today. I'd like to remind everybody the Las Vegas Car Show is going to be on April the 15th, which is Tax Day Sunday, April the 15th. We're going to be at Celebrity Cars of Las Vegas. Ryan Hamilton has been kind enough to host us. We still have room for sponsors, so if you would like to sponsor the show, please email me or email Ryan Hamilton, or I believe you can do it online now, Kirk, is that correct? Maybe? Definitely maybe.
Yeah. Wait till next week to find out.
Thank you.
And then I also want to remind everybody our club's 95th birthday party is on April 5th, which is a Thursday. We will not be meeting for lunch that day. That day we will have a dinner in this room, April 5th. We are inviting all past presidents and all former members of our club back. So if you have contacts with, we were just talking at our table here, Jim Wadhams, some of you may know him, former member of our club. I just told Richard, make sure you invite Jim back. So if you know of anybody who used to be a member, please invite them. If you need a save the date card, electronically or printed, see Sean. Sean can get that to you. Next up, if you could take the microphone to Kirk Alexander to talk about our RILA.
All right, today's 1/18/18. And so 2 months from now, March 18th, will be a Sunday. That'll be the third day of the RILA competition that starts on the 16th of March. So that means that over the next 2 weeks, we'll be starting to interview students. We're open to facilitator applications. So if you've ever thought about doing something to make a difference, I think we have 2 members. Chris and Adam, here's your opportunity. But at that point, we'll be putting everything together with the students. We have 12 that we're going to send this year. Oftentimes, we get mixed up with another club where they are short students, and then they end up pushing them toward us. And sometimes vice versa, where we have a whole bunch of them. So we'll interview probably 18 students, and we'll send 12. So if any members have somebody they'd like to promote forward, let us know as soon as possible. We usually like to interview them first. Of those 12, most of them will come from the 3 high schools that we have Interact clubs at, okay? So believe it or not, I promoted a club this year that has absolutely blown my mind in performance. Clark High School has 70 student members in their Interact club. How about that? So anyway, RILA is 2 months out, and it's a month early this year. So it's usually, in April. The district governor wanted to have it a little early, so we're doing it in the middle of March. Anybody that's interested, please let me know. Thanks.
Thanks. So 70 members at Clark Interact is thanks to Al Wagner's wife, is the advisor at that Interact club. So for the first year, great job, Al. Next up, if you could take the microphone to try to avoid past President Russ Swain. Let's see if past President Kathy Delvey is here. Please, Kathy, be here. Oh, she left. So I guess we have to give the microphone to past President Russ Swain. Yeah, we'll control the volume from here. We'll just turn it down. Go ahead.
I can see Kirk wants to turn this down, but I don't need a microphone. Right? Okay, hey, I just want to remind everybody, it was Kathy's week to make this announcement, and she bailed on me, so you guys are stuck with me. We are seeking host families for the international soccer team that's coming in next month for the Mayor's Cup soccer tournament. Our club has participated in this for, I believe, over 10 years now. I know I've personally been involved with it. It's a great opportunity to be of service. We host 2 of the soccer team members each in our family, in our homes, take them to the games, take them to a couple of social events, and pause and smile, right? And you know what? It's a great opportunity to be of service. So it's February 15th, the boys arrive, and the team arrives, and then we take them to games and take them to some events. I think we're going to take them to the pro soccer game on Saturday night. It's over President's Day weekend. If you're interested in being of service, Karen Wisenhunt is the chair, and you can contact any of us and let us know. Thank you.
And if you cannot host boys, we would still appreciate any support because they are playing in a tournament. So if you are available that weekend just to come watch some soccer, football, right? It's a ball, you play it with your feet, football, right? Yeah. If you want to come support the football tournament over President's Day weekend, please join us. Next up, Janet Linder. Man, she is on fire today for new member orientation. Announcing new member orientation.
Oh, that. Oh, it's really a cocktail party. Oh, is that what we call it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, February 6th, Stephen and I are hosting new members. And not only new members do we want to come, we want you guys to come. Meet these people. Have a wonderful evening with them of socialization and libation. So, February 6th at 6 o'clock at the Linder home.
For
And
auditing purposes, we call it new member orientation, right?
Right. Let's see. Let Sean know, because we need a head count. Yeah, a drink count, a head count.
Yes, and there will be wine. It's the Linder's home. There will be plenty of wine. Yes, and then if you could take the microphone, I neglected to past President Tom Thomas, who, through his generosity, and we've talked about Breakfast with Books and everything. I don't know, Tom, do you want to come to the front, or do you want to stand there? Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, if you were here last week, you got a good dose of how amazing Breakfast with Books is. And my wife and I have been pleased to partner with the club for the last 4 years in helping to sponsor that. So I just brought the check for our sponsorship this year to President Michael. It's for $12,500, and I say that not about the amount. I say that just so you know kind of what happens in order to basically place 30,000 books in a school. Breakfast with Books and the whole Spread the Word Nevada organization is incredible. And I have to tell you also where the basis of this we know is because of the great work that Katie is doing at her various schools. And I wanted to follow up. Katie mentioned that other things are happening at Hollingsworth. And her vision at these schools to go tour the campus really is infectious. And I would suggest you take a trip over to Hollingsworth. My brother Stephen, who many of you know because unfortunately he's rebuilt your knees and shoulders, probably a third of this club, he went over with his wife and his daughters and talked to Katie and then met with the students and saw what was going on. And their family decided that would be their project for the next year, to completely rebuild the playground at Hollingsworth. And it's so infectious when good ideas are germinated in the community. Take your friends over to these schools and see them. My brother was just looking around saying, we need to do something. He went over there, and now this is this massive project that he's got Par 3 and all these groups coming in and contributing. So it really is neat. Katie, our hat's off to you for all you're doing, and we'll keep supporting Breakfast with Books.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. And then before I get to the drawing, I received, because of Sheriff Lombardo being our speaker today, and we all know what happened on 1 October and what our club did, Janice Linke donated a Vegas Strong shirt that we're going to auction off right now. It is an extra large. So I just want you to know that, and all proceeds raised will go to our local Las Vegas Rotary Foundation to continue to help pay for the medical expenses. So where do we want to start? $50, Jim Tucker. $50, do we have 60? 60? 60 back there, Katie Crockett. Do we have 70? 75? 75? 75, 70? 75, Jim Tucker. Any higher than that? Any other amount? Going once? $100, past president. Well, I can really put it in water and stretch it for you, but that's about the extent of my abilities. Do you have a double X? No, sorry. Okay, $100, past President Steve Casey. Going once, going twice. Thank you, sir, for your generosity. Now let's see if you can win some of that money back, right? So for the drawing, the number is 848279. 279. Past President Ginger Anderson. No, 848279. So it's past President Ginger Anderson. pot continues to grow. And then for Lowry Bucks, our number is 848-318. 318. Anybody for Larry Bucks? Carolyn Sparks. Congratulations. Congratulations, ma'am. Pause and smile. Thank you. Thank you all again for showing up early and listening to our speaker. As I like to say, Rotary is like tennis. The one who serves best usually wins. Now go forth and make a difference.